All right, Nick. Alexis Diaz enters. So do the glasses. Likes. Mouse Cop, as always, is on it. Likes, folks. Nick, I hope you're doing well. You're about, what is this, your 7th hour of streaming today. So kudos on that.
You only live once.
Listen to your voice. Listen to you. Oh, man. Hopefully that was just like, are you okay?
You only live once.
Oh, my gosh. This guy's dead. He's dead, chat. I got a cold. My wife's making fun of me, telling me I have a man cold. I don't know if it's a man cold or not. It's just a cold. So, you use 3 outs really fast. We can talk about a baseball game. Gosh. All right. Some big baseball hits today, man. That's why this gets frustrating at times. He could get a double play right here, and I still have a little sour taste in my mouth about the fact that we have a 3-run lead, and we just come out here and throw ball. Well, that run feels important now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So much for that double play. Ian Happ's on. That's why they weren't holding him at first base.
Tommy Pham just hit a grand slam in his first game with the Cardinals.
Dude, Tommy Pham's like the ultimate trade line acquisition. Acquisition, I think is the term. Acquisition or acquisition? Acquisition. That's a weird word. What a weird word in the English language. All right, come on, Diaz. Oh, no. That hurt.
Just get hit in the nuts.
Oh, right in it.
Ugh.
Right on it, dude. That was bullseye.
Can't believe Alexis would do that to the longest tenured Red.
And there's not a whole lot worse than that, man. He's trooping it out, though. I guess he must not have got caught too bad.
He does not want Yang to get in his first big league game. Under no circumstances will Yang get to play.
Let's be careful. Let's not say that totally.
Number 69.
Yeah, well, yeah. What a number.
I hope he did that on purpose.
It's absurd to take that number. John. The reason that they let him steal second base is because they did not want to hold the runner on at first base because there was a left-handed hitter up. So therefore, if he rolls over a ground ball, you are much more likely to get the out at first base and get an out versus trying to hold the runner on for double play and giving up a hit and then bringing the tying run to the plate. So that's why.
The more you know.
I was just explaining it. Now you could argue that you're losing something by losing the double play for sure, but are you losing enough to lose the opportunity of getting it out on a weakly hit ground ball to first base when you might otherwise not have caught it? I don't know. It's a bunch of math. I'm sure someone in the analytic department figured it out already. Oh, Johnny. Now, I want to say something. That was a good play. However, I don't know if it was. I'm just going to shut up because people think I'm a hater. But let's be honest, guys. That ball bounces 2 times, 3 times. Like, God, dude. I don't even want to be a hater. It's a good play. He made the play. It's all that matters. But, gee, many Christmas, man. Absurd. Keep throwing strikes, big boy. Come on. Pump him in there. Ooh. Got him. All right.
It's a ball game.
Yep. Sure is. Sure is. And that's, there it is. Diaz comes in, closes the door, relatively straightforward, but he has to get your heart rate pumping just a little bit, doesn't he? But doesn't matter, Nick. They find a way to win a game. They win a series against the lowly Chicago Cubs. And we'll talk about it because we got a show to do.
Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Perkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded. The outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on. Long drive. Right field. And this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurel Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Line to the right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to
right, Nick. There's life. There's life. And I got to admit something. During that intro, I did take a peek at the wild card standings. I think that that's where I'm at. I don't know if I'm all the way bought back in from the idea that they're going to do it, but you know what? There's no other reason than not to root for it at this point because the trade deadline has come and gone. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit at some point. You've been on the airwaves for about 9 hours a day talking about it, so I'm sure you'd love to discuss more of it. And otherwise, you got anything to talk about or on your mind, Nick, before we get into the box score recap?
No, let's go Dodgers. Get the 4 back.
All right. 4 back, it starts to feel real.
The Dodgers are up 5-0 over the Padres right now. So
what inning?
I mean, it's early. Bottom of the first.
Oh, well, we're off to a good start.
I mean, Tyler Glass now on the mound for the Dodgers. So be good, Tyler.
Yeah, let's hope. But anything to add? I think there's a lot of positive things that happened today. I'm more or less talking about the game. That I'm sure we'll get into, but anything that you want to jump into? I guess you want to jump into the trade deadline before we get to the box score recap?
I thought we might as well just knock that out first, then go to the game, because I feel like we're just going to be kind of going back and forth. I think probably more people care about that right now.
No, they care about the fact the Reds won 6-3, I think.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I think they are.
I mean, I think I said everything just about I need to say, but I don't know your overall thoughts on the day. It certainly felt like there was going to be more action when Lucas Sims was dealt at 145, and then nothing happened. What's your thoughts?
If you haven't seen the Nick Krall interview, I thought it was relatively telling in my opinion. I also thought there was like a weird moment there. You can go back and watch it yourself, where they had all the journalists huddle up there, and I think it was Charlie asked him about what he thought of the 19-year-old. I think that's what he asked him. I couldn't quite 100% hear.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it just wasn't a very good look, because I think Nick Krall was in a spot where he just was like, I don't think I have anything to say. Like, I don't really, maybe he doesn't know a whole lot. That's how it kind of came off. I don't know if that's the truth or not. Maybe he just didn't want to really get into that right then and there, but it just felt a little off. The biggest thing that I thought was telling is that he kind of admitted, without saying it 100%, that they were working on some deals that ultimately teams decided they got better value somewhere else, is the term that he used. And my guess is that's Nick Martinez and maybe a couple of the bullpen arms. That seems the most likely thing. They did ask about Jonathan India, and I thought he had another telling kind of remark there, that India certainly was on the block, but they just didn't get any value in return, clearly.
Yeah, the interview was great that it got posted. I'm assuming Nick Krall probably is not thrilled that it got posted, to be honest, because it was from a reporter. It wasn't like an official Bally interview. And prior to that specific reporter, who, by the way, I think does a great job, I don't think anyone else posted videos of interviews like that. So I think he probably was caught a little off guard by the fact that it got posted. Although I would think
if you're speaking publicly, Nick, you got to know.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that normally was not posted before.
Right.
I agree with like what you said. I saw what you posted on Twitter. I mean, I think they probably thought they were going to get a deal for Martinez, and then I don't know if it was the Dodgers. The Dodgers made that last minute deal for Jack Flaherty. That seems like maybe that was a fit, and they ended up going there. I think if the Reds, though, would have gotten a deal that they felt was great, they would have moved Martinez earlier. They moved Frankie Montas last night. So who knows if they whiffed on a deal because they tried to hold out for something longer or not. We'll never know the answer to it. I'm glad Nick Martinez is a Red for the rest of the year in just terms of this year. So, I mean, ultimately, this isn't. I would be a lot more upset if this was a piece that I thought was going to bring back something game changing and you let it go. If this was Luis Castillo at the 2022 deadline, you can't wait till the last minute and get foiled. What are we really talking about here? There was not a single top 100 prospect in baseball moved today. Not a single one. So it's not like we're talking about top 100 prospects that change your entire system. I don't know. You're just going to have to write it out. I'd love to see Nick Martinez come back next year. He's clearly a valuable pitcher.
I agree. I do think that he's not going to come back. I think it's very evident that if he has any brain at all, or he has maybe his agent has a brain, they're going to try to use this as leverage to get another year of a contract under their belt. Even if it's the same amount of money, Nick, they'll go right back to the Reds and say, we'll sign the same deal, but we want another 2-year agreement. Because when you get to that certain age, you're more or less looking at like how long can you keep guaranteed contracts underneath your umbrella. And I don't think Nick Martinez is anywhere near the level right now to where it looks as if he's going to possibly get ran out of the league because he's not good enough anymore. But I don't think he's not going to sign that option. So at this point, from a Reds perspective, it feels like you got a guy that's going to be a rental player for another team. And, like I said, I'm not overly upset about it. I just felt like the PR could have been better, but it doesn't matter. Like Nick Krall is not a very well-spoken person. I'm not trying to kill him, but he's just not. He can't really, and maybe you don't want that. Maybe like as fans, we kind of want our guy to be a little rough around the edges when he talks because we actually get the truth. We could have a slick-talking guy that says all the right things, but then once the door shuts behind him, it's not anything near the truth of what actually happened. I'd rather it kind of be like that with Nick, but he doesn't do himself any favors, and honestly, neither did the guy that was speaking about the draft when he was on Bally. He didn't do himself any favors. The ownership group has not done themselves any favors. Like, if anything, I take away one thing. If there's a PR organization in this country that's looking to have a client and they could use them, I would think that maybe it could be the Cincinnati Reds, but they're supposed to win baseball games, not be elegant speakers. But that's what I took out most of the trade deadline talk after the fact. And I'm not overly upset, Nick. I know that I said earlier today, like, oh, Nick Martinez. I was just excited or hopeful that they were actually going to get, I don't, if even if it's not a top 100 prospect, I don't care. At least maybe they can get a couple guys that we can filter into the farm system, add depth, and maybe one of them a hit.
The one thing that maybe hasn't been mentioned a lot, I don't know if I've even seen anyone mention this, and apologize if someone has, is there is still the possibility that the Reds could offer Nick Martinez a qualifying offer at this offseason.
Sure.
Now, that's last year was $20.3 million. It's gone up almost every year, so I don't know, maybe it goes to 21, 22. Martinez's his option is for 12. That seems like a lot of money for Martinez.
It does.
The question is, do you if you take the gamble and he doesn't take it, well, you're probably going to get a draft pick that is worth more than you would have got for Nick Martinez today. So you hope Nick Martinez almost picks up the $12 million option or becomes good enough that he's going to decline a $20 million option and you get a draft pick. I don't know. He probably falls
He's not
somewhere
going to
in
decline.
between.
Yeah.
He probably does. I'm saying he probably does, but it is an option that's on the table. Let's say Nick Martinez pitches incredible, because I think he's going to be in the rotation the rest of the year. Let's say he pitches incredible the next 2 months. He may turn that down because there might be a team that offers him a 3 or 4 year deal. It's possible. That's just another layer to this whole thing. The other relievers, I am not even what are we talking about? What Buck Farmer and Justin Wilson?
Right.
I mean, what are you getting back for them? You got the 29th ranked prospect for Lucas Sims.
Yeah.
Both of those guys you picked up after they were DFA'd by other teams. I just saw so much about, well, you're going to have to cut them when relievers come back. Okay.
Yeah, right.
If they come back and someone else doesn't get hurt, I mean, you may not even have to cut anyone. We see how this goes with pitchers. Fernando Cruz, I think, clearly needs to get shut down at some point. So there's one. I think you can just shut him down or put him on the fatigue IL or whatever else.
Right.
I don't know about the other ones. Martinez is the one that I don't know if we'll ever know. He might sting. It might sting if we knew what was out there. But the other ones, I can't really lose any sleep over those.
I don't think any of them you're losing sleep over. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I don't even think it's in the best interest of a show like ours to try to overreact. I mean, I maybe people will want us to do that. Like, that's not. I would just openly say, like, it's not that big of a deal, regardless. I seen Evan in the chat. He wants me to. What is Nick Krall supposed to say? I would just, and again, this is maybe semantics on my end, but I would just like him to be like, guys, listen, there's a lot of moving parts at the deadline. I think it's relatively obvious that we were looking to deal some guys that might not be here next year, but ultimately at the end of the day, other teams are doing the same thing. It turned out that they decided to go a different route. I just don't think he needs to lead off the conversation with a 15-minute sermon about how they have a run differential and they still want to keep this sack. Like, you just had Santion as the starting pitcher tonight. Like, let's not play that dumb about this. That's all. And again, to be very clear, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's just me looking at a guy straight up lying. And it just, for some reason, bothers me. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day, and I don't want to spend any more time on it because it really, again, to be very clear, isn't that big of a deal.
The only other thing to add about the India, they asked him about the market for India. He kind of like started and then he stopped.
Yeah,
that was they're not allowed to talk about the market for players. Well, I'm assuming it's the same rules as a free agent. You're not allowed to talk about this player has a certain market. It's a CBA agreement. So. Yeah. You can want him to be honest all he wants. He's not literally allowed to talk about Jonathan India's market. So these guys can also only be so honest within the rules. Like, there are literally rules that they can't be 100% truthful about everything they say in these types of conversation to protect the players, which is a good thing. Like, you don't really need to go out and say, yeah, Jonathan India, man, we wanted to trade Jonathan India. We really did, but there's only like one team that was kind of interested, and the player they were giving back was like, yeah, it wasn't worth it.
He was worse than Austin Hendrick. Go look him up. Sorry, I had to get that one in.
How about Slater getting traded, though?
Dude.
What a wild.
Honestly, he should just retire.
I still don't know what the Orioles are doing.
His family's just got to be like, what, WTF, mate? What are we doing here?
We're going to the Orioles? I thought we were going to Japan.
Yeah. It's like, he's got his kids rooting for I'll stop. He's got his kids in the Olympics just rooting for multiple countries. Just, where do you want to go, guys? Anyways, let's move on, please. Box score recap. Let's do that. Here's the deal. I think there's some important things to talk about for today's game. You've been on stream for 7 hours. I'm not feeling overly great, but we're going to provide a good show. I feel good about this show, but we got to do the box score recap first.
All right, let's do it. Reds did play a baseball game tonight. And game 2 of 3 against the Chicago Cubbies. Left-hander Justin Steele of the Cubs. He entered with a sub-3 ERA against a Reds bullpen game. Surely the Reds would have no chance in this one. Tony Santion threw a scoreless inning in his first start since June 29th, 2021. Then the Reds jumped on Justin Steele in the bottom of the first. Jonathan India had a leadoff walk. And then with 2 outs, Tyler Stevenson singled, Jeimer Candelario walked, and TJ Friedl singled home 2 runs, 2-0 Cincinnati. Reds picked up right where they left off in the bottom of the second. Noelvi Marte walked, and then Santiago Espinal homered to right field, number 7 on the season. And then Jonathan India later in the inning doubled, and Tyler Stevenson singled him home, 5-0 Reds. Nick Martinez, right after the trade deadline, threw 4 scoreless innings. He did give up 4 hits, but 0 walks and 3 strikeouts. Then in the bottom of the 6th, Lyon Richardson did give up a 2-run home run, just barely got over the right center field wall off the bat of Cody Bellinger, 5-2 Reds. Justin Wilson gave up a run in the 7th that made it 5-3. Fernando Cruz did give up a hit and a walk, but got the Reds out of the 7th inning. Buck Farmer threw a perfect 8th, and then Santiago Espinal doubled in the bottom of the 8th, his 4th hit of the game, and then Steer doubled home Benson, who pinch ran for Espinal. 6-3 Reds. Alexis Diaz got it done again in the 9th. save number 21 out of his last 23. Reds improved to 52 and 55. Reds now 7-2 against the Chicago Cubs this season.
And we have a deep drive of the day, baby. And I'm going to tell you right now, this kid is playing out of his mind. Santiago Espinal. Who knew? I can't believe it. 7th home run of the season. 93 miles an hour off the bat. Not the greatest exit velocity, but you know what? It doesn't matter. If you hit it 341 feet at the perfect degree angle, and that just happens to be 37 degrees, you can hit a home run at Great American Ballpark, and that would give the Reds a 4-0 lead, and their win probability would jump up to 88%. As we all know, it would be 100%. And the Deep Drive of the Day is sponsored by DSC. They are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you to John and his team at DSC. I guess Martinez is there. I don't know what's on the back half. We kind of are in a spot here today where it is what it is. I'm gonna start off by saying this. The Reds failed to move a runner over a couple different times with a guy at second base with nobody out, or they did. India moved him over to third base one time, and then Ellie struck out, and then they capitalized both times on getting big time hits. That hit by Tyler Stevenson was a massive hit in this game, and then Steer obviously delivers. It might not look like it didn't matter again in the box score because they win by 3. You're like, so what? Diaz didn't give up a run. But if Diaz walks the first guy on 4 straight pitches and it's only a 2-run lead, I'm not saying that it completely falls apart, but I am going to openly admit that I think that it doesn't go as smoothly as it did. So this offense got timely hits tonight when they needed it the most, big 2-out hits, and it felt like they had great at-bats tonight. As much as I complain about this offense and this team on a nightly basis more times than not, they had a lot of great at-bats tonight. Now, I don't know if that's a product of the Cubs, Nick, or what you make of it, but I just wanted to get that off my chest there to start the show, is that this looked like a Major League Baseball lineup tonight.
Yeah, that first inning really stood out to me. There was a lot of really good at-bats, a 2-out rally. Yep. Worked Justin Steele. I mean, Justin Steele's a really good pitcher. I mean, this is the Cubs' best offering, and the Reds shelled him tonight. And it really started in that first inning, and could have been an entirely different game if you don't have that rally. I mean, the Reds ended up putting up a 3 spot in that first inning and, completely set themselves up for a good night. So, yeah, that was vintage Reds from 2023 that we loved. And, yeah, that first inning was just great to see. Hopefully you could see more of it. I mean, the Reds have somewhat of a more complete lineup right now than they've had at times this year. It's still not perfect by any means, but it's a little more full top to bottom, and no one got traded. So, this lineup, I think, can still at least be competitive, hopefully, most nights.
Big hit by TJ Friedl as well. 2-out hit, lefty on left. It was just a good night. I mean, it really was. It felt like that if you could get the consistency that they provided tonight, not on a nightly basis, obviously, score 6 runs every night, you'd be the world's greatest offense. But point is that if they can grind out some at-bats like they did tonight for the rest of the season, they're going to give me a little bit of hope. I don't have a whole lot to add on Martinez. I think he's a stud. I really do. Like, I did not think he was going to be this good when we first signed him, and he just competes. And I almost feel like he's a more polished Graham Ashcraft a little bit when it comes to just his competitive nature. That's my initial reaction. And I just like, he puts off a good vibe, Nick. I like when he gets excited. Guys make plays for him. He's screaming and yelling at them, telling them that they made a great play. Just something about Nick Martinez that I really like.
What a gutsy performance after the day that he went through.
Right.
I mean,
you're acting like he escaped prison or something, man.
I mean, come on. I mean, these guys are humans. You saw Frankie Montas' press conference. Saw Lucas Sims' press conference. I mean, it's emotional for these guys when they get traded, and he probably, Nick Martinez probably thought he was going. I mean, most of us did.
Yeah. You think his bags were packed?
I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah. I mean, if I was him, I probably would have had at least a bag packed. I mean, I thought that was a gutsy performance for him after, expecting he's probably leaving. also still trying to get ready if I have to pitch tonight. I mean,
right.
Well, pretty impressive stuff for him. Didn't walk anyone. I mean, this would have been the kind of night you expect to maybe be a little erratic with your command, and he's just a true pro. I mean, that's really my point, is this guy's just a professional pitcher.
So he's going to probably move over to the other, the last, if you want to call it that, rotation spot in your mind, and then from there we'll find out ultimately what happens. I would ask you a quick question. If it doesn't go well the very first start, are you giving him a lot of leeway, or are you just going to say, you know what, this is how it went earlier this season. I'm not going to do a Eugenio Suarez. I know that's not the apples to apples comparison, but you move him to shortstop and then all of a sudden you lose him completely.
I don't know. I know there's not a Frankie Montas now to fall back on. I mean, until Brandon Williamson, if Brandon Williamson comes back, I think you give him quite a long run at this point. I mean, Lyon Richardson, I have a hard time believing he's going to be better. Julian Aguilar, he's had a really nice year, but just got to AAA. I think he's also kind of outpitched some of his actual expected numbers and things like that. So yeah, I'd give him quite a long run, unless you want to get cute and make him not worth as much, and maybe he picks up that option. But I mean that's a little far fetched. No, I'm joking.
I know you are.
You run him out there in the rotation for the rest, or for quite a while.
Yeah, we'll see. Santiago Espinal. I'm getting yelled at and saying my mic's something. Maybe it's too hot. I don't know. Nick will tell me my mic's completely too hot. Who knows? Santiago Espinal, DH. I seen Tony in the chat asked, why is the best infielder? He's not the best infielder because it's Ellie, but I get the sentiment. I think I know why. I know my answer, and it's not a good one.
They just don't want to mess with India. I mean,
yeah. I was gonna say, why is he playing? Why is he DH when you obviously could put him somewhere else? I think it has everything to do with it's not full blown New York Yankees second baseman, but it is similar to that, where it's like we're just gonna leave Jonathan India be.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be mad about that or not. It's one of those things. Like, yeah, I could make up being mad about it. I could not be mad about it. Does it really matter? The only thing I would say is I guess there maybe is something to the whole it's easier to pinch hit for him, like with Will Benson, versus if India's DHing and Espinal's playing second base, you can't pinch hit. Your lefties are outfielders, so it is a little bit harder to pinch hit for. So maybe that's the thinking, but that also kind of feels a little bit like a stretch. But
right. Okay. No, that's fair. It's a fair point. All right, let's jump into the back half. Game time. If you're looking to go down to the ballpark, you got a chance to do that again tomorrow. You can download the Game Time app, use the code CINCY, CINCY. You can get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply as always. And you should be able to get some good tickets. You should be able to get some good tickets at a pretty reasonable rate right now. And as much as I love when the Reds are without question, and I prefer it this way, they're playing incredible baseball, and it's a sold-out crowd, et cetera, et cetera. There's something to be said that's enjoyable to be able to go down to the ballpark and get in relatively affordably and kind of spread out a little bit, sit where you want and not have everybody right on top of you. So I'm not suggesting that it's a good thing, but it is a good thing for you personally. And if you're going to go to the game, you should use none other than the Game Time app. Use the code, as always, CINCY, CINCY, get $20 off your first purchase. Yeah, I mean, listen, you acted as if Martinez was sitting around all day today, and probably, hell, I don't know if it was like, it was basically like, you remember AIM back in the day where, you used to get online and you used to just be able to just fire off messages left and right. It's like, that's what you're making this clubhouse out to be with 988 in the basically a semicircle of Buck Farmer, Justin Wilson, and Nick Martinez, and they were all just singing Kumbayas together, and I just don't think that was the case. I think that they just went to the ballpark and they knew they were probably millionaires and they were going to be fine if they had to move. Just a thought. But if you do have a situation that's causing you some issues, go to mantherapy.org. They'll help you out. Your thoughts, Nick?
Big fan of 988 and all the great work they do. You should go to their event August 15th at the Holy Grail Banks in Cincinnati, striking out the stigma.
Yeah.
Special guest Brent Suter and TJ Antone.
Yeah. Those guys did not get traded.
They did not. Yeah. Tommy Thrall did not get traded today.
No, he has not been traded. One broadcaster I wouldn't mind putting on the market and see what we can get in return, but we won't get into who that is. All right, folks, we got to do some supers here real quick before we get in the back half of this rundown. We got some good ones tonight. I already seen some of these good. These supers are they're solid. Rolf coming in hot as always with a $9.99 says pray for the Reds tonight. Listen, man, how am I supposed to? Haposaurus Rex is due tomorrow to try to wreck the sweep. ATOBTTR. If you don't know what that means, it means and this one belongs to the Reds. I'm going to say something that I know people will kill me for. The Ian Happ thing is slowly starting to feel like not as big of a thing as it used to feel like. And I need him to go over tomorrow.
Why would you say that?
Here, see? Here we go.
Why would you say that?
Yeah,
I'm
usually not the guy to do that. I'm usually not the guy to do that. But you know why? Because we're going to look him right in the face and tell him that he's not that great of a player. He's never been that great of a player. And just because he comes back home to Cincinnati, that only works for, I almost said a bad word, but that only works for Wiemer, okay? That's all. That's the only person that's going to work for anymore. Just a thought. Nobody in life needs Ian Happ to go over tomorrow more than me. So we'll see. Side note, says Michael Roth on the mental health. Shout out 988. These players are human. Trade deadline has to be so stressful. Golly, you guys. India had a smile on his face all night. He wanted to stay and it showed. I mean, I do think there's just truth to that. Yes. Utter relief on his part, I'm sure. I think that's true. Yes. I also don't think it's the world's worst thing sometimes to get traded from a team. Like, I'm sorry. I'm going to say something that maybe Reds fans will hate me for. But you're going to convince me that we should all feel sorry for Jonathan India if he had to go live in L.A. for a few months and play for the Dodgers. I mean, what a miserable life that would be.
I think we need to feel sorry for him, but I think we can also realize that the moment that it happens and the day that it happens might be a little bit challenging for another human being.
This is true. I need to be a little more sentimental.
I don't know. Like,
what?
I mean, some of these guys might have to leave their wives behind. I mean, for a couple days, like, and their kids to go out there and catch up with them later. And there really does need to be a full out. You mentioned this on our stream earlier. It needs to be a full out Netflix, all behind the scenes on a team that is trading away players, the GM, the players, the whole thing. It would be electric. And I really do think you'd have a whole different perspective on all priests. I think you'd feel different about the front office and how challenging it is to deal with, 5 different trades at once that you're trying to flip through. And, you're trying to do some research and find out what your scouts say about this 19-year-old kid in Salem that you've never heard about. But, I mean, you don't know every 19-year-old prospect across baseball. And I think you'd feel a lot different about the players, too. And, just kind of how stressful it is. I mean, I'm not going to feel sorry for the guys that are making millions of dollars at the end of the day, but in the moment, it's a tough, stressful day.
That's fair. Okay. Well, I guess I just don't have as much pity as everyone else when I was sitting on 119th Street for the last 4 days trying to make a couple grand just so I could come back home and pay some of the bills at home while I was missing my kids and family. Meanwhile, I could turn around and look in the bank for perhaps, I don't know, what is Jonathan India getting paid? What was his last paycheck come through the mail? I wonder what that was. And I also want to be very clear. Yes, I get it. They are humans. They have feelings. We should all care about them. And as always, mantherapy.org. If you need it, it is there. Jonathan India, he's next on the rundown. I think he just probably wanted to talk about the fact that he played. Not only is he playing well, but on top of that, he's still a Red. And he's been the main guy that has been discussed about for a long time as to whether he would stay or go. I'm going to parlay that into a super chat that we got from Big Z. And sometimes, this is like big league segues. Big Z says, is the big wiener, I think that's what he means, signing the Many Christmas. Is the big wiener signing the spark plug we needed? Long live India. I think he means Wiemer. But
Wiemer got option to AAA, so we're going to have to wait a little bit for the Wiemer.
The spark plug.
Spark plug.
Yeah, can't wait for that one. Yeah, long live India. Any thoughts on, I guess, anything else to say about India before we move on to some other supers?
Yeah, I ran out of topics for the back half.
Love
there
that.
really wasn't a whole lot of talk about. I mean, look, Jonathan India's still a Red. I hope he plays really, really well.
Don't do it.
It makes a lot of it gives the Reds a lot of good options next year.
I can't do it. It's like every single time the day comes that it's like, well, they didn't trade India. Well, I really hope he plays great. That way, the next time it comes around, we got some more chamber, bullets in the chamber per se for Jonathan India's trade rumors. I don't know. I'm done with it. Jonathan India, long live India. Hell, he's probably going to become a Reds Hall of Famer at this point. That's where I'm at. You might as well put number 6 up right next to Johnny Bench. Shout out to Johnny Bench though at the ballpark I seen. So shout out to him. Big C for coffee says 5-year anniversary date of Amir Garrett taking on the entire dugout. Pirates dugout, that is. Never forget. So, yeah, Amir Garrett, what a guy. That guy used to get on my nerves, but I do respect him. So,
I will say, Jonathan India is already more deserving of being in the Reds Hall of Fame than Ron Oster, who's in the Reds Hall of Fame.
Whoa, shots fired at Ron.
You,
Ron Oster's getting shots fired. Just saying. Nick put in his own super chat, but I don't think that's actually the case. Nick says, death, taxes, and Spencer Steer getting a big clutch hit. Life is full of inevitabilities. Yeah. That was a big hit by Steer. Big hit by Stevenson, and obviously Espinal had a hell of a day. And TJ Friedel, big hit. So, what more can you want? All right, folks. One more super here. Rolf chimes in last minute, and then we're going to jump into Reds MILB and who, what, when, where, and why, because I got to get some rest, and I got to make sure that I can wake up tomorrow and hopefully don't have this cold. And I'm sure I'm going to get made fun of the whole entire time at my house because there's no sympathy at this house, let me tell you. Michael Rolf said, I learned today that Olympians from Hong Kong receive $768,000 if they win a gold medal. U.S. Olympians receive $35,000. I don't know. Sounds like the American dollar is just not what it used to be. That's a joke, by the way. I don't know. I don't. Maybe they care. Do they care more about the Olympics in Hong Kong?
Yeah,
there's a lot.
So.
There's a lot of things that probably could come in. I don't. Fun fact. It was a fun fact. Michael provided a fun fact. We read it. I don't know what to make of it because I don't know enough about geopolitical things, and I really don't want to get into it. I'm sure there's a reason.
I think people really, Trace, want to hear our opinions on that.
Right, yeah, because I know a lot about it. I barely know enough to talk about Reds baseball, let alone anything that has to do with other countries and their Olympic pay. I can tell you that. Reds MILB, there is one thing I do know. Today is Tuesday, which means I think the Chattanooga Lookouts played baseball today.
No!
What?
Rained out again.
What?
The 4-game win streak lives on.
Austin Hendrick is down there pulling the old Bull Durham. You guys, you want to rain out? I get you a rain out.
They're going to ride out that 4-game win streak as long as they can. They're bringing all the rain everywhere they go. What was that? We learned, speaking of geopolitical type stuff, what was the city that made the rain? Remember we were talking about that earlier in the year? There was a city that made it rain for
that was
reason to grow crops.
Yes, that was that. Yeah, that was wasn't that Saudi Arabia? It was like cloud seeding or something. They said
cloud seeding. That's what Chattanooga's doing to keep that win streak alive.
Nice, I like that. I like that. I just look over. I got to be honest. I lost my train of thought when I seen it just clear as day. Trey sucks in the chat. I love that. Keep it moving.
All right. AAA. It is tough times for Louisville. Now, thankfully, they did get a big bat in Joey Wiemer today, was assigned to the Louisville Bats. Did not play in this one. But the Bats lost their 8th straight game. They're now 49 and 52. They lose 2-1 to Scranton Wilkesboro. Luke Mailey, rehab debut, 1 for 3. Resigns his first game back with the Bats. On base twice, 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. Hines hitting now 217, 703 OPS at AAA this season. Jacob Hurtaby's 0 for 4. Blake Dunn, 1 for 4. Tony Kemp hit his 7th home run of the year. And then Justice Sheffield, really impressive performance from him. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts. Zach Maxwell did throw a scoreless inning, but he walked 2 batters. He's now walked 5 batters over his last inning in the 3rd. So there's been a lot of discussion about Maxwell. And why is he not called up right now? Well, he is walking still quite a bit of batters. Down to high A, the Dayton Dragons, they got smacked 10-2 by Lansing. Dragons fall to 52 and 45 on the season. Good day, though, from Cam Collier, on base 3 times, 2 for 3 with a double and a walk. Hector Rodriguez and Jay Allen, each 1 for 4. Carlos Jorge, 0 for 4. I put the wrong one up. Sorry, my apologies. The Daytona Tortugas, they lost 4-3 to, oh man, I always say it wrong.
Say it fast.
Dunedin. It's Dunedin, right?
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it.
They lose in 10 innings, 4-3. Tortugas have lost 4 of 5, 46 and 48 on the year. Not a whole lot in this one. Sammy Stafura, 0 for 3 with the walk. E. Smith Pineda, 0 for 2 with the walk. Carlos Sanchez, he was on base 3 times. And then Connor Burns, 2 for 4 with a double. Ricardo Cabrera, who left the game on Sunday, we mentioned, did not play, but he was not yet placed on the IL. So we'll wait to see on him. He's the top prospect down there. Alex Blandino placed on the temporary inactive list. And then the player the Reds got for Lucas Sims, Ovis Portes, was assigned to the Tortugas. So we will see him soon. And then in the Dominican Summer League, tough day. DSL Reds lose 5-3 to the DSL Padres Brown. Dolfo Sanchez 0 for 4. Yekel Soriano 0 for 1 with a walk. Jervin Moriallo did not play. And then the DSL Rojos, they lose 9-1 to the DSL Orioles Orange. That's your Reds MILB.
Presented by Nick Kirby. Let's do a little who, what, when, where, and why, and then we'll do into the. Uh-oh, he's looking for it. That's why I feel like we can do who, what, when, where, and why, and then you can buy yourself a second there at the end of that. The end of the thing. Yeah, let's do that. Who, what, when, where, and why, Nick?
All right, Reds going for a sweep of the Chicago Cubs. Nick Lodolo on the mound, 8-3, 3.45 ERA. Lodolo, 2.25 ERA in 2 starts against the Cubs this year. Really good his last time out in Tampa, 6 2/3 innings, just 2 runs allowed. Active Cubs are 15 for 67. That's a 224 average. Belly is 2 for 6. Happ 2 for 10. Warner 3 for 8. Paredes, new Cub, 1 for 7. Suzuki 2 for 6. And then Dansby Swanson, the only one that's taken Lodolo deep, 1 for 6 with a walk. And then for the Cubbies, it's Kyle Hendrick, 2-9, 6.95 ERA. He's got a career 5.28 ERA in 13 starts at Great American Ballpark. Gave up 8 hits and 6 runs in his last start against the Royals. Active Reds are 10 for 40. Candelario's 2 for 11. Ellie's 0 for 3. Fraley 1 for 4. And India 4 for 14. So this matchup looks great for the Reds. So I'm sure that the Reds will lose 1-0 tomorrow, given the way this season has gone. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah. Listen, I'm fighting the fight tonight. I got to be honest. So I'm hopeful that you know where that Nicolas Cage pillow is. I can tell you that. Yeah, I knew you forgot about that. I can see you in the preview screen. And the thing, Chad, is that I don't know if Nick knows that. And we'll just keep that a secret between us before he puts his headphones back on.
I heard you.
Well, you kind of ruined it then. You could act like you didn't hear me.
My volume's loud.
All right. Well, Yeah, real solid effort. That's like Nick Krall's effort today, is what some are saying. Not me. Some. That's what some. Not me, of course. I'm not saying that. That's what some are saying. All right, folks. Appreciate you. And we're still hanging around here. What's the score of the Dodgers game?
5-3.
Oh, all right.
Going into the fourth. Tyler, we need you to pick it up, brother.
All right, folks. Chat's got me tonight. I gotta lock it in, man. Sometimes I just need to put the chat away. That's what I should do. That's what I should have done tonight, but I didn't. Because why? I appreciate all of you. Let me make sure I didn't miss any supers. I don't want to miss any supers. Nope. Show's over. So don't super anymore. Show's over. We'll get to the supers tomorrow if you super too late. This is the time for a motivational speech, but sometimes you just don't have one in you. But I just want to say I do appreciate everything that Austin Slater did for us. He gave me hope for one night as I watched a highlight of him hitting a ball off the Toyota Tundra sign. It turns out he needed a little bit more time in order to hit that Tundra sign, but tonight, when they showed that Toyota Tundra, it reminded me of Austin Slater. I really just want to let everybody know that we should all say a little prayer tonight before we lay our head at night. Not for a man that played Major League Baseball, not for a man that's probably a millionaire, but largely because he's got to move a couple cities and he might miss his family for a few days. So say a little prayer for Austin Slater tonight. Otherwise, we'll see you back here better than ever tomorrow. Go Reds. Love all of you. See you tomorrow.